device up and running.
Despite the massively multiplayer ambitions hinted at in the game's earliest trailers, open-world cooperative shooter The Division is not an MMO. Its realistic recreation of Midtown Manhattan will not be populated by human players throughout, like, say, DayZ. Rather, you'll only find large groups of random players in Destiny-style social hub areas that occupy small, specific pockets of the world map. For the majority of the game, you'll simply partner with up to 3 co-op buddies and battle AI enemies across a series of discrete, story-driven missions. This is where my hands-on experience kicked off, with New York City rapidly descending into chaos following a biological attack that saw smallpox-infected currency deliberately introduced into circulation on Black Friday. After quickly customizing a character, selecting from a relatively modest collection of pre-made faces and hairstyles, a chopper dropped me near the Hudson Piers en route to the game's only mandatory mission: establish a command center at the historic post office across from Madison Square Garden. Once activated, this expansive, regal building becomes your home base for the rest of the game, providing a place to receive missions, purchase gear, craft items, and interact with the game's characters. It also serves as a driving force behind the game's narrative. The base consists of 3 wings: medical, tech, and security, and each branch contains its own storyline, with dedicated missions that eventually result in related unlocks and upgrades. After walking through the front door and claiming the post office, my first real taste of the Division's combat came as my squad and I set out to rescue the doctor who eventually supplies the medical missions. Interestingly, the overall moment-to-moment combat feels more like an RPG imbued with shooter mechanics rather than a shooter layered with RPG trappings. Enemies, for example, absorb an absurd amount of damage, far more than you'd expect based on the game's grounded universe. The controls feel oddly unshooter-like as well. In order to throw a grenade, for example, you must hold left on the D-pad, select the grenade type, bring up the throwing arc by holding the left trigger, and finally throwing your explosive with the right trigger. Once I grew accustomed to these gameplay idiosyncrasies, however, I still found plenty of things to love about the Division's action. The sticky cover and health systems both work well, but more importantly, enemy AI proved savvy enough to demand strong squad tactics from me and my teammates. If we didn't hold the line, we would get flanked and murdered, but if we successfully laid down suppressive fire and forced the opposition into a corner, we could flank them and save ourselves a bloody firefight. And when strategy didn't quite pan out, I was generally able to rely on my character's special skills to turn the tables. The Division's upgrade and progression systems are extensive, offering 3 separate categories of both passive and active abilities. Skills are most definitely active, allowing you to, say, unleash an enemy-seeking mine or break out a riot shield and march into the crossfire unscathed. The loot system is equally robust, with dozens of individually upgradable pieces of gear and a huge selection of weapon mods so you can turn any firearm into your own custom killing machine. Honestly, the options felt overwhelming, but I expect the game's RPG roots will shine through and the entire experience will open up after a few hours of upgrading and customizing your character. The one major question that remained after my hands-on time: what will we find as we explore the streets of New York City? I was able to engage in a few simple side quests, but I didn't have much time to explore. Will we find encampments of survivors, a diverse collection of environments, special loot that rewards collectors? Guess we'll have to wait for the Division's long-awaited beta to launch later this month.
Warning. Your Division affiliation has been disavowed. You are now marked as rogue. Alert. A member of your team has disavowed Division affiliation. The team will be marked rogue.